The Interstellar Military Academy floated in geosynchronous orbit above Zentara Prime, a gleaming testament to the Galactic Coalition's commitment to unity among species. Within its crystalline halls, cadets from 47 different worlds trained side by side, learning the arts of diplomacy, warfare, and cooperation that had kept the galaxy stable for 3 centuries. Bella Martinez stood at attention in Combat Theory Classroom 7B, her human frame dwarfed by the hulking Krathian beside her, and barely reaching the thorax of the insectoid chitin cadet 2 rows ahead. At 19 standard years, she was one of only 12 humans at the Academy, a species still considered novices in the grand tapestry of galactic civilization. Today, Professor Zelthar announced, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence, we examine tactical responses to ambush scenarios in low-gravity environments. The Draknari instructor's scales shimmered under the classroom's artificial lighting as he manipulated the holographic display. Bella had learned to ignore the whispers. The galaxy viewed humans as primitives, a species that had only achieved faster-than-light travel 60 years ago, still reeling from their own world wars and environmental disasters. To the ancient races like the Draknari or the telepathic Velshari, humanity was barely past infancy. Cadet Bella, Zelthar's voice cut through her thoughts, you will demonstrate the defensive protocol. She stepped forward, but before she could reach the simulation platform, a voice rang out. Professor, with respect, Krazoth, a massive Krathian cadet, stood from his seat. His exoskeleton gleamed like polished obsidian and his mandibles clicked with barely concealed amusement. Is it wise to have a human demonstrate combat protocols? Their reaction time is limited. Their physical capabilities are modest. Laughter rippled through the classroom. Bella's jaw tightened, but she maintained her composure. Zelthar's eyes narrowed. Your concern is noted, Cadet Krazoth, however. I merely wish to save the class time, Professor, Krazoth interrupted, his confidence bolstered by the support of his peers. Perhaps we should observe a species more, evolved in combat scenarios. The chitin, perhaps, with their 360-degree visual range, or the Velshari with their predictive telepathy. Several cadets clicked, chirped, and hummed their agreement. Bella felt heat rising in her chest, not embarrassment, but something else. Something that had carried her ancestors from caves to starships. Very well, Professor Zelthar said, his tone unreadable. Cadet Krazoth, since you have volunteered your opinion, you will join Cadet Bella in the simulation, a practical demonstration. Krazoth's mandibles spread in what passed for a Krathian smile. It would be my honor to educate the human. As Bella stepped onto the simulation platform, she caught sight of Leo Chen, another human cadet in the back row. His expression was calm, but she saw the slight nod, the one they'd developed as code, show them. The holographic environment materialized around them, an asteroid field, low gravity, limited visibility. The scenario was simple, navigate to the extraction point while avoiding or neutralizing hostiles. The simulation will run at standard difficulty, Professor Zelthar announced. Weapons are set to training mode. Begin. Krazoth immediately activated his enhanced exoskeleton's jump jets, launching himself forward with the confidence of someone who'd trained for this their entire life. His species had been spacefaring for over 2 millennia. Combat was in their genetic memory. Bella moved differently. She pushed off gently, using the asteroid's minimal gravity to guide rather than fight her momentum. While Krazoth's sensors swept for enemies, Bella listened, using the vibration sensors in her suit to detect movement patterns through the asteroid's mineral composition. The first hostile drone appeared. Krazoth's plasma rifle discharged, missing as the drone exploited his momentum against him. He tumbled, unable to correct quickly in the low gravity. Bella rotated her body, using her arms to create angular momentum, and fired a 3-round burst. All 3 training rounds found their mark. "Lucky shot," someone muttered in the classroom. Krasoth recovered, embarrassment fueling aggression. He charged the next cluster of drones head-on, relying on his armor's superior rating. It worked. His exoskeleton absorbed the incoming fire, but he'd burned through 30% of his power reserves in seconds. Bella moved like water, each motion economical. She used debris as cover, calculated angles, and conserved energy. When she engaged, it was decisive. When she retreated, it was tactical. The simulation's difficulty escalated. Hostile drones multiplied, their AI adapting to the cadets' patterns. Krasoth found himself pinned behind an asteroid fragment, his shields flickering under sustained fire. "Human," he barked, covering fire. Bella assessed the situation in milliseconds. Krasoth was exposed, overextended. His training had taught him to dominate through superior firepower. He'd never learned to be vulnerable. But she had. Humanity had spent millennia as prey before becoming predators. They understood fear. They understood desperation. Bella didn't provide covering fire. Instead, she did something the Krathian couldn't comprehend. She made herself bait. She launched into open space, deliberately drawing the drone's targeting systems. Every hostile in the sector locked onto her. In the classroom, several cadets gasped. Professor Zelthar's scales rippled with concern. Krasoth watched in confusion as the drones abandoned their positions to pursue the human. What happened next took 4.7 seconds. Bella twisted mid-flight, her body creating an impossible spiral in zero-G. She'd spent her childhood on Luna Station, where low-gravity maneuvering was as natural as walking. She fired while spinning, each shot precisely calculated. Not at the drones, at the asteroids behind them. The training rounds shattered ice deposits in the rocks. In the vacuum, the sublimating ice created crystallized clouds. The drone's targeting lasers scattered through the particles, their sensors momentarily blinded. In that fraction of a second, Bella had already corrected her trajectory. She bounced off one asteroid, then another, building velocity without burning fuel. She came at the drones from an angle their programming hadn't anticipated, from below, where prey wasn't supposed to attack from. 7 drones, 12 rounds, 11 hits. The last drone she didn't shoot. She grabbed it mid-flight, used her momentum to slam it against an asteroid, and crushed its core with her armored gloves. Silence filled the classroom. Krasoth remained frozen behind his cover, his scenario incomplete. "Simulation end," Professor Zelthar commanded. As the hologram dissolved, Bella stood on the platform, breathing hard, her suit's power reserves at 63%. Optimal efficiency. Professor Zelthar's 4 eyes focused on Krasoth. "Cadet, you relied on superior technology and physical advantages. Against an equally equipped opponent, you were neutralized." He turned to Bella. The human demonstrated adaptability, spatial awareness, and creative problem-solving. She used her environment as a weapon and herself as a tactical asset. Krasoth's mandibles clicked in barely suppressed rage. "She's reckless. That maneuver could have." "Could have what?" Bella interrupted, her voice steady. "Could have failed. Yes, it could have. That's what makes it effective." She stepped closer to the Krathian despite his size advantage. "You've been spacefaring for 2,000 years. Your tactics are refined, perfect, predictable. Humans, we've been in space for 60 years. We don't have the luxury of perfect doctrine. We adapt or die." She looked around the classroom. "You all laugh at human limitations, our slow reaction time, our fragile bodies, our primitive technology, but you know what we have that you've forgotten." No one answered. "We remember what it's like to be afraid, to be outmatched, to face extinction." Her voice carried the weight of history, the wars, the plagues, the near collapses that had almost ended her species. Every human who reaches for the stars does so because we refuse to accept limitations. Not yours, not ours, not realities. Leo was grinning in the back row. So were the other human cadets. Professor Zelthar's scales shifted to a color Bella had learned meant respect. Class dismissed. Early. He fixed his eyes on Krasoth. Cadet, you will submit a 5,000-word analysis on why you failed today. I expect it by morning. As the students filed out, several alien cadets who'd been laughing earlier now avoided Bella's gaze. A few nodded. The chitin, surprisingly, clicked what she'd learned was their equivalent of applause. Leo caught up with her in the corridor. You know you're going to be legendary after this, right? Bella shrugged but couldn't suppress her smile. I just did what humans do. What's that? Survived. Behind them, through the classroom's transparent walls, they could see Krasoth still standing on the simulation platform, staring at the space where Bella had turned impossible odds into victory. The galaxy had spent centuries assuming humans would learn to fight like them, with overwhelming force, superior technology, ancient wisdom. They were wrong. Humans would fight like humans, unpredictable, adaptable, relentless. And the galaxy was just beginning to understand what that meant.